Zach, bro, we've been going. Let me ask this question because what you're saying is that Blair should have known that her end result was gonna end in divorce. Before you say that, before you put words in my mouth, I said she was married. I get done with my statement, bro. Just correct, just be right when you say that. But you've been talking this whole time. And now you're divorced now. Bro, you didn't know that outcome was gonna come. The shit you're saying, bro, is not accurate. Okay, Krishan. How can I finish? If you gonna quote me, I'm not. I didn't quote you. I know this show. It's our show. Hold on. It's our show. I need you to understand, bro. I know this your show. I respect everything you saying. What I'm telling you is, bro, you're wrong. Exactly my point of podcast, you feel me? Like, so before we get this thing started, we being here vibing, chilling and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? As you look around, all I got in here is my family, you know what I'm saying? A1s from day ones, I'm cooking it up, man. So sit back, get ready to enjoy this next episode. I'm telling you, man, you're gonna like this one. What's up? It is your boy Black Zach of the Exactly My Point podcast, and of course, I'm kicking it with my co-host, the homie, the Brody, a great father, a great husband, a pillar in his community, none other than the homie Sean Majors. Man, what's going on, bro? Excited to be here. Episode 6, we in the building. Been a great new year. Just happy to get this episode cracking, man. I think it's gonna be a good one. Boy, this one's about to be one for the books. It's spicy. So, you know, this is the first episode of the new year, right? So a lot of my friends have been tapping in with the Exactly My Point podcast, and for that, I am extremely grateful. So y'all been hitting my line. Y'all like, yo, when we gonna get to the controversy? When we gonna get to the real stuff, the stuff that you post on your social media? So I said, you know what? I'm gonna start 2021 off, and we gonna come out the gate swinging. So this episode is gonna be on child support and co-parenting. So, you know, this week, right, I was on social media and I was putting up a couple little things about it, and the comments were doing numbers. So, of course, we couldn't talk about this ourselves. We had to reach out to some of our friends, and we had to get their perspectives on this, you know what I'm saying? So first off, I want to welcome everybody to the Exactly My Point podcast. We appreciate y'all coming through. So we're going to start on this scene with my man, Philip. Phil, I just want you to give an introduction, you know, let the people know who you are and what you're bringing to the table for this conversation tonight, my man.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm Philip Dawson, 36. I hail from Overland Park, Kansas, and I'm the father of 5 amazing children, so I think I know a little bit about what it takes to be a dad and a co-parent, so I'm in the building.
Yes, what's up?
Blair, Care Blair to some of you all. I'm the owner of Boutique by Blair. I'm also a wine consultant for Wine Shop at Home, a mother of 3 beautiful daughters, so I definitely know all about this topic today, and I'm excited to dive into it.
Welcome.
Alright, and I am Mo. Y'all met me before a couple episodes ago on Massage and Money. I have no kids. I'm with this one right here. You know, my nieces and nephews, and we have some opinions on some things that we can talk about, even though we don't have children, so we kind of want to fit in.
Y'all already know my saying. You already know my saying. No kids, no case. No kids, no case. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So we ain't gonna get into that. But Sean, who you got sitting next to you, Krishan?
Yeah, let's go.
I'm Tish. I went to school with everybody.
I'm the Remy Bulldog.
My perspective is,
Welcome.
We got one.
I have 2 kids. One that on child support, one that does not need to be on child support. So you'll get my perspective from both sides of it.
All right, well, I'm Keelan. I have 2 sons, one in my home and one that's not, and that's the one that has some child support. He's 14, one's 5, and so there's a few different dynamics that come into play with that. So a little bit about me, just me, you know, dabble in a few things. I'm an HR professional, mentor, and do a few business ventures outside of that. So
Speak on those business ventures, man. Plug yourself.
No, you know, I'm a personal trainer. I own a gym. It's called the Little Gym of Kansas City North. And then I also dabble in real estate, own a few properties.
So if you're trying to get your body right, come holler at him. You want to own some property, holler at him. You know
kids come to the gym. Holla.
That's what I'm saying. All right, so first again, man, look, this really, me and Krishan, me and Sean Majors, we really appreciate this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we try to use our social media platform not just to be funny and connect with people, but to honestly, engage in conversations that we may not be able to have. And that's the great thing about social media. But some of these conversations need to extend past social media, So before we really dive into that, there's some things happening around the world that I think, I would like to hear you guys' opinion on. We have the inauguration coming up with just a little over a week ago. We had the riots in Capitol Hill. And me, of course, I got on social media, I'm like, damn, the white folk acting like this, and they've been oppressed for less than 24 hours, but they expect for us to act like we got some sense and we've been oppressed for over 400 years. Make it make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? But it was funny to see, how they can't handle what they've been dishing out. Now they see the systemic racism, they see the systemic oppression, and now they want to cry out and they want to riot and they want to march.
It's not systemic oppression, bro. They feel oppressed. They want to be oppressed. They're not oppressed, bro.
Right.
Don't put that on them.
Don't put that on them. You're exactly. Excuse me. But I just want to start with some of you guys. Feel free to take it. Anybody, just open up with it. Seeing those riots in Capitol Hill, how did that make y'all feel? Just go ahead and speak to that.
How the hell they get in?
I was tipsy, and it was like looking at a movie. Like, I was like, is this really happening right now? Like, I was, girl,
This is a no judgment free zone, so Monique, don't do that. This is a judgment free zone. We're all loving here.
Watching it from the comfort of my home on my couch, and I was just like,
Girl, me too.
Is this real? Is this real right now? Like, and I was offended that they got that close. Like, so I was waiting on some gunshots. I'm gonna be bluntly honest with you. I was waiting on some gunshots, some mace, some bombs, something.
Right.
And when that didn't happen, it was just like, wow. I've been kind of in denial about a lot of stuff. I have white ancestors, so I'm kind of like, y'all, benefit of the doubt. And I went to an all-white school in elementary ages. So, I have a lot of white friends, so I'm just trying to still be like, it's not everybody, like, y'all, come on. And then the fact that you not only made it to the Capitol, you made it in the Capitol, you put everybody in there in danger, like, and you got past. They let you in. I saw police. I don't know if anybody else saw open the gates and let them in.
Right.
So I was just like, at that very moment, I'm like, well, if you didn't know, you know now. That WP, it's out there.
It's real.
Yep.
I was on some stand back, stand by type shit. Like, I'm just gonna watch. I ain't posting. It's my entertainment right now.
Right.
I really was entertained.
It definitely was
But I was
entertaining.
thinking, they about to shoot somebody. They not about to just happen like that. They about to shoot somebody, and it didn't happen. But at the same time, I understood. Like, I know, we know how it works for everybody that's not our melanin. So we know how it works for them.
And it wasn't that we wanted them to shoot anybody. It was
Right.
just the reality was if they looked like me,
That part.
the situation would have been so different. So we was like, okay,
That part.
we need to stop everything you're doing and you need to watch. And it didn't happen.
Right.
I low-key did.
I did too.
I was like, I know somebody.
I don't know, but I kind of felt like we look weak, just as a country as a whole. Like, when we broadcast to the country, you know what I mean, that this is the type of stuff that can happen on American soil.
Right.
And it be okay and doable for it to be flexed on.
For an extremist.
For an extremist. Yeah, like, bro, we look like real weak.
It looks like a reality TV show.
It-
We let somebody in a Halloween costume
Right.
walk in there and brought their feet up on somebody's desk.
Right.
That's what we allowed to happen.
That's exactly what we did, man.
And shout out to that officer though, because when I was watching it, I was angry with him.
I
And
was
I'm
too.
like, bust they head, you know what I'm saying? Like, bust they head, what are you doing? Like, fight. And then I found out after the fact that he was actually trying to lure them in to get them away from everybody else.
I saw the video of him like look back at that door.
Yeah.
Like,
Right, and
you
make
can't
sure
go
that
in
was
there.
the
Yeah,
door.
make sure that door is cool.
Right.
I saw that and I was like, all right, because at
Right.
first I was laughing at dude. Like,
You outnumbered.
what did he do? He put that little stick on
Yeah.
like, I was like, man, shoot him.
How much
Like,
they
yeah,
paying you?
right.
Like, how much they paying you? How much they paying you?
Right.
Nah,
But how many
respect.
bullets do you have?
Yeah,
Like,
respect
right.
the dude.
So like, you definitely have to like, and that just speaks to like us as blacks, man. Like, we're so resilient and so resourceful. Like, other ethnic groups would have folded under that.
Man.
Like Dog was quick on his feet. Like, you know what? I can't shoot all y'all, but I can have y'all chase me to make sure that the people in Congress, you know what I'm saying, are safe. And that just speaks to, like, you know, how we're always able to make something out of nothing. You know what I'm saying? How we're able to, you know, to see past what's in front of us and always look out for the greater good. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's dope within itself, man. So, you know, we starting off 2021 with a bang. You know, we got.
Please don't restart that.
Man, you know, man, I don't want to see 2020 again, but 2021 has definitely been entertaining. You know what I'm saying? It's already starting off with the ride. So, you know, hopefully, you know, with this inauguration thing, you know, coming and changing of the guards in the new presidency, you know, we're able to see some change. So I want to speak to the women on this stage right now. Monique, I've already asked you this question. But, you know, for the ladies, I would like to know you guys' you know, input. Seeing a black woman in a position of leadership as being vice president of the United States, how does that make you feel as a black woman? Because I know black women have had to endure the majority of the injustices that have come in this country, you know, from the back part, you know, and you guys have always been advocates of not just black rights, but human rights. So to see a woman to be elevated in that position to where she can actually bring about some change, how does that make y'all feel? So I'm gonna start with Tish on this end first.
Yeah, well, it makes me feel very proud. And it for me, I have a 7-year-old daughter, so for her to be able to see that, oh, she looks like me, it gives her hope and determination to be a doctor, attorney, a political figure, someone to make a difference in the world. So I'm really proud of her, and I hope she does really good.
Me too. Monique, what about you? I know we've asked you this question before, you know, like, what's your insight on it?
Y'all asked me a lot of questions. For me, I mean, it made me feel, I guess, prouder for younger women or females to see that, because I come from a family of strong women, so they've told me from the time we was little, you know what I mean, that you are the shit no matter what people say to you. But to see it on this type of platform or this type of stage, like, yeah, it feels good. I feel like she's deserving, and she's gonna do what she needs to do.
Carrie Blair, talk to us.
I think that, I mean, I'm very happy, I'm elated, don't get me wrong. I think it's more of a men's question, because as black women, we know our strength, we already know what we can do, we know our capability.
Ooh, that's how she coming out? Damn. Yeah, that's on the spot. Well, I'm gonna let you know, I don't speak for all, I speak for myself. I love to see a sister in a position to embark some change. I feel like black women are some of the most resilient people in this country, some of the best leaders in this country, and I think it's time not just for black men, but for the country to get out of black women's way and let them do their thing. Like, when you look at some of these CEOs and these Fortune 500 companies, black women are spearheading them.
Yeah.
So if they can spearhead Fortune 500 companies, why can't they spearhead a nation? So sisters, listen. I know some of y'all get on my head every day about the stuff that I post, but you know, it's just jokes. But I love y'all dearly, and I want to see my sister, Vice President Harris, do her thing. You feel me? Anybody else?
I think for me it brings a little bit of anxiety, because it kind of reminds me of what it was like with Obama. There's this thin margin of success versus defeat. So I want the most for her, but I'm waiting for the first time somebody says something crazy.
Right.
In regards to an act that she did that anybody else would do, and if it was a man or a white man, it would be okay, but because she did it, you know, like with a lot of things with Obama, it's different. So though I hope the best for her, I know how some people can be finicky, and I just hope that people allow themselves to give her the best opportunity to be able to succeed. That way, she'll have an opportunity to thrive. But you know how people can be, and they're looking for the first opportunity to say, "Oh, you know, she messed up. Told you so."
Right.
So we'll just see. We'll just have to see how it goes. But I'm hoping the best for Kamala.
But on the other hand, she's allowed to mess up, you know what I mean? Nobody's gonna be in office that many years and not make no mistakes. And I think that's what we have to learn as a people, is even when you're in positions of leadership, like, sometimes you're not gonna make a decision.
True.
And even if you are, she's not viewing it from our viewpoint. They're considering the entire country versus us considering ourselves.
Speak on
We're
it.
never gonna completely align with decisions that they make because we don't understand what's going on behind the scenes.
I don't know. Like, I think that they have to take us into consideration because we got them Georgia, we got them into the White House. So even in Biden's speech, when on November 3rd or 4th, whenever he said it, he was like, "Hey, black people, thank you for what you guys have done." So they have to take us into consideration, in my opinion.
No, that's real though, because and I don't really think like we understand the significance of flipping Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that is huge.
It's huge, man.
That's huge. That's monumental. You know what I'm saying? So to see like, and it's our generation. It's our generation spearheading that change. Like to see our generation spearheading that change, like that's monumental. That's
even
something.
Arizona,
Right.
Like, no, come on, man. Like, no, these are big changes that are going on throughout the country. And you have Republican strongholds that are starting to change. Obviously, you have Atlanta, the Phoenix, Tucson, Tempe area that are Democratic strongholds. But I think that we should expect something as black. We should expect something. I mean, obviously.
You ain't gotta give me 40 acres in the mule. Honestly, listen, Biden, if you happen to stumble across this, your boy got some student loan debt. Just a little of that shit. Just take care of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, just don't got debt. You know what I'm saying?
Even if it's not something that's directly directed to black people, which I hope it would be, but even if it's not, it's something that encompasses us and we're not left out because I feel like we've been left out for all these years in a lot of things. And then we're Democratic. I would say I'm a Democrat because that's how I sort of voted, but I hate politics. I love politics, but I hate politicians.
You're kind of liberal.
I'm more independent. But I see where we could go with this.
Right.
I'm giving them 2 years, bro. Just being honest.
Exactly.
We got 2 years with
Results. I
need results in 2 years.
Man, listen, we could talk about this all day.
Yeah, that's not the topic.
Right, that's not the topic. You know what I'm saying? But I had to get you guys' opinion. You know what I'm saying? I had to get you guys' opinion. You guys are very boisterous on, Facebook with your opinion, so I had to come in and, tap into y'all while we're on this platform. But we about to get to the cooking. Right, we about to get to what y'all came to see, what y'all wanted to talk about. Yeah, we about to chef this thing up. So I got my, what's that thing that they put on the top, the parsley? I got the parsley, I got the Lowry's.
Parsley.
You know what I'm saying? Parsley, whatever it is. Bougetto. We about to get into it, right? So the topic at hand today is child support and co-parenting, right? And that is something that has become prevalent in the black community. And not just for our generation, this has started before us. But this whole thing is driving a divot in the black family. So I wanted to use the Exactly My Point podcast platform to have a conversation, not to instruct people on how to do things, but to offer some insight to hopefully that if you're ever in that situation, maybe something that somebody says up here can influence you to make a decision that's not beneficial for yourself, but for the child. I think we get caught up in our pride in the child support and co-parenting thing that we don't necessarily think about the child. Now again, no kids, no case. I just have to state that. All right? No kids, no case. But, having friends that have been involved in child support, having family members, it still has impacted my family and my way of life. So I know you guys that have children, I know it's impacting yours. So I want to hear you guys' perspective on it. So what I'm creating is a conversation. I'm not going to guide this conversation. I'm just going to kind of let you guys speak freely and maybe offer some questions that will offer some insight, to get everybody thinking. So the first question that I want to put out on the floor is, what is your definition of child support? Don't give me Webster's dictionary.
No.
Don't give me that. Don't give me the court's definition of child support.
Give me your definition. Just like, we gonna be real here. I want your definition. So Keelan, I'm gonna kick it off with you.
Oh man.
Hey.
I'm gonna kick it off with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you a little insight. I knew Keelan. Keelan graduated from Grandview. Most of us are Grandview alums, except for Blair, excuse me. But we welcome you with open arms anyway to the Bulldog family.
Thank you.
Bulldog. You know what I'm saying? She's an honorary Bulldog. But Keelan has always been somebody that's had, his character has always superseded him. From the time I walked into Grandview High School in 1998, from coaches to teachers, everybody spoke highly of Keelan Mitchell. That if you were an athlete, you wanted to be like him. If you were a student, you wanted to be like him. So first off, man, I want to say thank you for wanting to come up here.
Appreciate you having me.
You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate that. So, but I want to get your input, man. What is your definition of child support?
Man, I mean, I can go on and on about child support, but I look at child support as far as like maintaining. It is a support system. It helps to maintain what a child needs, but when you look at the child support system, as far as you have the system and then you have parenting, and so we can pay child support all day, but you know the parenting aspect is the biggest part of what the system should be. And I think from when it started back in like 74, 75, it's changed a lot. Because the family dynamic has changed, the dynamic of women's role within the working field, the workforce. Because back then, it helped to supplement women that weren't working really for the most part, and now you have women basically out doing what men are doing. And so there's a maintenance aspect to it, but there's a parental aspect to it. And so I think that you should look more on the parental aspect of it than the financial support aspect.
That's real. I appreciate that. Ms. Tish, please, your definition of child support.
It's kind of like his financial and emotional support of the child. So if you can't, there are some fathers who make a lot of money and can't be there emotionally for their kids, so they send the money. They have no problem with paying the money, sending the money. But then you have some that don't make that much, but they are good fathers and want to be there and want to come pick up the kid and want to spend the time with the kid. So I think that it's mostly in my eyes, for me, it's financial and emotional support for the child.
I can respect that. Sean Majors, listen, you and I have had some conversations, bro. Listen, I commend you. I'm gonna let this brother speak on his situation, but the way this brother has gone about handling the situation, I have to tip my hat off to him. Man. Seriously. Because the way the system has tried to screw him, for lack of a better words, the average man wouldn't have been able to take it. So, Sean, I know you probably got a list of things that you can define child support as.
We're gonna keep it simple right now. You asked one question, bro.
So, I'm gonna ask you, Sean Majors, what is your definition of child support?
To me, man, I look at development. So, as a child, grows, and I look at both parents. So, co-parenting is a word that stands extremely solid with me. Like, what are both parties doing to ensure that the development of that child is going to grow up to be a viable person in this society?
Speak on it.
And again, you didn't hear me say money during anything I just said. So to me, you said something to me a while ago. Love is spelled L-O-V-E, but in parenting it's T-I-M-E. It's time. You know what I mean? So investing in making sure that your child has everything that they need for their development and well-being to be a well-abiding citizen in this community, man. So child support definitely needs to get looked at. There's a lot of flaws to this system that we are in, right? As men, I think it is a hindrance, should be abolished for those. This ain't for the ones that don't care or don't want to spend time or don't even want to spend that money. For the ones that want to be active in their kids' life, man, we really got to discuss some things. I'm gonna leave it there.
We're gonna dive into it. We're gonna dive into it later.
We're gonna get back to it. Yeah.
In my opinion, the definition of child support is exactly what it is. It's to support the child. Whether that is financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, it is to support the child. It's not to use the child as leverage. It's not to use the child, as a form of bitterness. It's not to be accountable for, it's not, for a life that you made. It's to support the child, to get out of our own way, to say that, hey, whatever my child needs, I'm going to be there for my child, and that responsibility does not fall solely on one parent. That's my definition of child support, in my opinion. Miss Monique, what's your definition?
I couldn't have said it any better than you, because me and you are both very logical people, and we've had this conversation. I think there's a lot of different facets to raising a child that are important, but when it comes to the system, it's about money. This is how much it takes to do whatever is necessary, and sometimes that amount is too much, sometimes that amount is too little, sometimes people are going after it for the wrong reasons, and sometimes the right. I don't think that it should be done away with, but I do feel like maybe you need to revamp the system, because there are areas where it does need to be used, and it just needs to be used properly. But definitely for me, it's more financial as far as the courts are concerned.
Ms. Blair.
Child support to me is unfortunately real Webster. It is a financial obligation that is paid from one parent to the other, either A, in their absence, or B, in the less fortunate custodial parent's favor. It's pretty much how I look at it.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Mr. Phillip.
Hard being at the end of the table.
Talk to him, Phil.
I'll tell you that. I guess without copying, it's kind of like when you think about your children, you think about a liability. You're liable for them, no matter what parent you are. And then it comes to what you are capable of. So what can you give if it involves financial stability or time? It's hard not to talk about child support without talking about the state in general.
Yes.
And living in the general Kansas City area, me personally, I live in Kansas. So dealing with child support across state lines is probably the trashiest thing on the planet, because you would be amazed how much information is not relayed from one state to the other, and they're right around the corner. So definitely once the state becomes involved, it makes the process very difficult for both parents, especially whichever one is going to be, financially responsible according to the state for those said children. So,
I like having these type of conversations, because from one end to the other, the definitions of child support have changed, right? So just think about that on a level where, if you go to every other household, child support is going to be looked at different. People are going to have different definitions of child support and what child support means to them. So that's why I feel like a conversation like this is needed, so we can all see the different perspectives on it, right? So now that you guys have given your definition, right, let's really dive into it a little bit further. What are the pros and cons of child support? Now, I know that will change based on who's answering the question. So Philip, you just said you don't like, it's hard being at the end of the table. So I'm gonna start with you, brother. We're gonna hit the Uno card, we're gonna hit the reverse. What are some of the pros and cons of child support in your opinion? Again, I don't want for the state, I don't want, the Webster's dictionary. I want in your opinion. You live this.
well, at the end of the day, it goes back to liability. That financial stability is going to be helpful, no matter what. So I guess that's a pro. I think there's just a lot more cons when it comes to the process of communication and having the state be in your back pocket, or if things aren't necessarily working out. For me personally, I'm a cancer patient. I have had colon cancer for the last year, so not to be working after I've been working for years and years and years, and I have one child that I specifically pay child support for. My other children I do not, because 3 of them live with me. It makes it very difficult when you're trying to go to doctor's appointments and have chemo treatment and things of that nature. And the state, I I would like to imagine if a woman is paying child support and she has breast cancer, they would take that into consideration. I sometimes feel like because you're a man, people don't necessarily understand that, hey, I can't hold on. I got chemo treatments. I've got a port on my chest. I've got a pump that I'm going to be connected to for 48 hours and things of that nature. And it makes it very difficult to be a parent on certain months when maybe necessarily you don't have the type of financial stability you have prior.
Before we move on, man, listen, I want to commend you for your efforts in this battle that you're facing. I follow your journey
I appreciate it.
on Facebook, man. I want to say, I just don't say this because we're on my platform, but I say this because it's realness from the heart. I pray for you daily, man.
I appreciate it, bro.
Because
You know that.
I've known you all my life. Like I said, we all went to school together.
You
And
teach
you
me.
are a genuine person. And the book says, it didn't say weapons wouldn't form, it said that they wouldn't prosper. So this too shall pass, Philip. So just know that we all in your corner, bro.
I appreciate you.
We all in your corner. Miss Blair,
Yes.
the pros and cons, Miss Blair. I know you got some, because I got on Facebook one day, y'all, and Miss Blair was giving a testimony. Like I had to stop, I was in the gym getting my workout on, and she made a PSA. First she made a status like, listen y'all, I'm going live at 9:00 p.m. So when a woman lets you know she's going live, that means she got some tea she about to spill, right? I'm just being real. So the homegirl got on there at 9:00 sharp with some tea to spill, and I was listening to the sister. I'm like, you know what? She's bringing some points to the table that I need on my show from a female perspective. Like again, as a male, I can't speak to what females go through in this system. So I reached out to her, and I had to say, hey, listen, you know, I understand what you were saying. I need you to articulate that on this platform. So Ms. Blair, what are the pros and cons in your opinion of child support?
Okay, the pros or cons. The pros in the person receiving is, of course, the financial support that they get. So that's kind of it. You're just getting a little bit of assistance or whatnot. There's several cons though. It just kind of depends on the situation. For the person that's paying, your driver's license can get took. You can't get a passport. If you own homes, you know, there's liens placed on your homes and so forth. So those are a lot of cons that come along with child support. Not being able to maybe see your kids or be as active as you would like to be. Being looked at as a deadbeat. And this is for men and women, because I know both.
Right.
So it's not limited to just one person. So there's a list of cons more than pros, because basically it's just that you're receiving funds. So those are my pros and cons of child support.
Monique, you have the floor.
Pros for me and conversation, and sometimes it's necessary. Like sometimes you just don't want the person you have a kid with on your back, and it's just easier to do things by court order. And I've told you, not everybody is mature enough to sit down outside of court and make decisions. So sometimes you just need somebody to put that together for you. The negative side of that is when you give control over to someone else or a court, you don't know what they're gonna say. You don't know, she might think it's too little or too much, or you don't know what he's gonna think. So you're literally giving control to someone else, and you don't know how close they're gonna look at your individual situation. So I always have an issue allowing other people to have control over my personal situation, but at the same point, everybody can't do things on their own. So that's my pro and my con.
I mean, for me, honestly, I don't see too many pros with it outside that you have to hold somebody accountable for something that they partake in. Necessarily outside of that, it's more cons with me because it puts a divot between the black man and the black woman and the black family. And to me, that's the biggest issue with me with child support. I mean, I understand that we're different, we see things differently, we may have made a lapse in judgment. I get all that. I do. But in a perfect world, I would like for two adults to be able to sit down and agree to take care of a child that they created. In a perfect world, I would like for that to happen, but in reality, it doesn't. So what happens is we have to rely on third-party systems to come in and govern us. And I just think that puts us behind the 8 ball as a culture. Like men, we have to be better. Let's just be real. Men, we have to be better in the decisions that we make. And I also tell that to my female homegirls. Females, we have to be better because you're bringing a life into this world. Men, you're creating a life. So there's a responsibility that falls on both parts. And when each party fails to do their part, the child suffers. So that's why I say it's more cons for me than it is pros. I like the fact that you can hold somebody accountable. But the fact that we have to have a system in place to hold people accountable is a con for me. So that's my input on it.
I'll say this. I feel like child support is for the unwilling. I'll say that. Besides that, I honestly feel child support, there are no pros, there are nothing but cons. And I'll speak to that by saying the advantage.
Now, like, really dive into it, Krishan. Like, right now, you're dancing around the issue, like, and like, you my dog, so I'm gonna hold you accountable. Like, we say this all the time. This just isn't a podcast. This is a form of therapy. This is healing. So I want you to speak on it, Krishan. You're going through something that a lot of men are going through. So don't sugarcoat it. Don't give me the watered down version, bro.
You want the real?
I want the real, dog.
All right, so here's the real. If you are putting a man on child support that is willing to spend time or have a connection with his child, you are wrong. I'm gonna say this. When it comes to finances, the advantage is pro-woman. I say that by, if I'm on child support and I want to buy a car, or I want to buy a house, or I want to get a credit card, or I want to do anything in life to further my success, I have to put down not only my rent and my bills and utilities, I have to put that I am on child support, paying an obligation. Flip that. From a woman's standpoint, if I'm buying a house or getting a car, doing that, that's looked at as supplemental income to advance your success.
Correct. Depends on how much it is.
It don't matter what it is. It could be $200, it could be $50. It's still added money that you're receiving that's looked at a bonus. And again, it may not be your specific situation, but that's looked at as added income. So for somebody that's spending money or spending time or spending effort to see their son, but also has a financial obligation to pay, you're taking a hit while the female is advancing. Not only are you receiving Section 8 in most cases, or you're receiving supplemental income when it comes to food stamps or anything of that nature. I'll put prime example. I was laid off from my job, not working, and tried to apply for food stamps, and I was denied. You know what I mean? While somebody could work a part-time job, female status, making more money than me, still qualified, got $600 worth of food stamps. But the opposition is just so large. I don't think people understand like the parameters that are put on the male when it comes to child support. Now, I'm not talking about the motherfuckers that don't, excuse my language, don't want to be around for their kids. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the people that do. You see what I'm saying? So
there's a difference because there's a difference. We're not speaking to you deadbeat dads. Look at me when I say this, camera. I'm gonna look at this camera too. We're not speaking to you deadbeat dads.
Who did I say child support was for?
The unwilling. So I'm speaking. He is speaking on behalf of the men who are doing the right thing, who are holding themselves accountable, who want to be an active, like not just a monetary figure, like an active participant in their child's life. So we just want to get that clear. We don't want anybody to get in our inbox or in our mentions. Y'all advocating for deadbeats? No, we're not.
We taking care of kids, bro. This ain't about you, bro.
This ain't about you, right?
This ain't about you. But no, it's a con. Anytime a legal system sets up time and money for you to be able to see your kids, spend time with your kid, it's a con. So for me, man, the whole system is just it's a con. It's set up for us to be absent. It gives us motivation to be absent. If a woman says, "All right, cool, you can see your son if I get a check this week," or you can see your son because he wanted these new J's, or whatever the situation. If you're putting a financial burden on Tom, you wrong.
Stipulation.
Yeah, you wrong.
I mean, I totally agree with that. Again, let me preface this by saying me, Richard Williams, no kids, no case.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
it's a con.
But Tish, you know what I'm saying? Like, and Tish has been very vocal on social media because she sees it from two different aspects. She has someone who is willing and able and doing for both. So we commend that brother for that. And then she has a situation where dude just ain't shit, for lack of a better words. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, Tish, we want you to speak on it. What are the pros and cons? And we want you to, again, like I told Rashawn, I don't want you to give us this generic great value version because you're trying to be political. I want you to be for real. You know what I'm saying? I want you to be for real. Like, what are the pros and cons of child support?
Okay, so pros for me is mandated obligation for the guy, the one who doesn't come around or be around or try to do anything or spend time. So the con is the motherfucker don't pay enough. Honestly, the motherfucker don't pay enough. So, you know, my son, he's got, I'm gonna say he'll be 18 in a couple months. His dad, he did federal time, 10 years. But every birthday, every Christmas, he made sure my son had everything he fucking asked for. Behind bars. And so then I have this 7-year-old daughter. Motherfucker ain't seen her since, 2 months. You know, he don't do shit. He ain't, tried to see her. I tried to take her over there. Motherfucker didn't answer the door. And at that point, I'm like, fuck it, we're gonna keep you on child support. And the only reason why he's on child support is because I had lived in Texas at one point, and you could be a single parent, 2 kids, and make up to like $58,000 a year, and still get daycare assistance. Daycare is $900 a month.
Damn, a staff month for a kid?
$900 a month.
If that don't encourage you to wrap that thing up, bro, a band a month. I'm just saying, a band.
In order for me to get that assistance for her so she can be in a quality daycare where she's not being mistreated,
Right.
I was forced to put her father on child support. I'm not gonna make him do shit. But since I needed that, I had to. And so when I did that, daycare was only $140 a month. So shit, we're gonna keep this motherfucker rolling.
I'm not mad at you.
Is that the system or that's the person?
It's just the person.
Like,
it's not the
you look at the system versus the person.
Like that's like I said, I got 2 different situations. One who takes care, like I said, of both of them.
Yeah.
He go ahead and take care of both of them, and then one who don't. So the one who takes care of, I've never even thought about signing up or going down there, or some states they be like, whatever. But other states, the larger states, they be like, who's the father? And I try to be slick because I didn't want to put her on child support, put him on child support because I didn't want him to be around. So they was like, well, you better write down a list of names. I'm like, damn, bitch, I ain't know how. Like, so I was like, fuck it, I wrote the shit down. Like, I ain't got to be just writing random people's names down. They getting shit in the mail, and they like, oh my God, who is this? I don't know who this is. I don't know what's going on. So here, fuck it.
I understand.
And so that's my situation. It's a pro because it's mandated, and then if they get behind, they get some money from a car accident or from tax money. They stimulus check.
Let me get that.
They intercepted it.
I need my stimulus check. I'm not for real. IRS, I do need mine. Like, I'm hurting. I need that.
But for me, when I get hers, I put it in the savings account for her. I don't spend it.
Okay, so
she.
I'm glad that you said that. And this is going to drive the conversation differently, so I just need to take a mental note of this. how is that child support spent? So somebody make sure y'all hold me accountable that we revisit that. I'm glad you said that. Because you're doing right by, okay, I ain't spending it, I'm putting it in savings for my daughter. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna cut off what you're saying. I just want everybody to put that in the mental box, that we revisit that before we close out tonight.
Yeah, I put that in a savings account for her, so she's stacked right now. Usually she'd be like, oh, mommy, I want this or I want that. I'm like, oh, okay, so you wanna pull some money out so you can get what you want? Or, you know, it's just like extra stuff. Like she has an iPhone and she just asked me today, can I get some AirPods? Okay, let's, you know, you got some money, pull it up, let's see if you can, do you wanna spend that much? Yeah, I do, yeah. Okay, so we'll pull it out so she can go get the stuff. Well, you know, but I make sure she saves a lot of that money. I don't spend it. I don't need it. It's not enough for me to do anything.
Damn. You're a real one for that.
Yeah, it's dope.
You're a real one. So Kayla, I know like you've been over there, I know you've been itching. Cook.
No.
Kayla, you ain't saying that, but that look. So Kayla, man, what the pros and cons of child support? Talk to us, brother.
I mean, I look at it as everybody's situation is different, you know.
Okay.
Right. It depends on the individual, whether it's male or female. The pros of cons, or the pros of it, I believe, are it should and hopefully help provide for that child or children in whatever situation it is. So, but the cons, I think I said it earlier. I'm drinking, I don't remember, but I mean, I think it's an outdated system because when it first started in the 70s, when you look at it, child support was for divorced women. And in the 70s, you weren't really thinking of, it was, women weren't working at that time. So the man is making the money, the breadwinner, and you have these kids, and you leave the home, and so all of a sudden, he needs to provide for these children, and this woman needs to, if not, this woman's going into poverty, and the kids are going into poverty, she goes into poverty. And so I think that it helped back then, but it needs to be revisited now because
You feel like
well, it needs to be revisited now because in a lot of cases now, look at it, women have higher degrees and more degrees than black men. I mean, if we're looking from a black perspective, than the black men. Obviously, you look at the women's wage compared to the man's wage, and then the man's wage is a little higher. But in the black community, women are doing a little bit better than men from the job standpoint and education standpoint. So the education standpoint means a better job, right? Normally. So I think that it needs to be revisited. Also, that you get men, you get women that are putting men on child support out of spite, and you go to what people don't really know is, you know, you go to child support, it usually comes with the visitation part. This is the issue really. It's not the child support, it's the visitation part. So you say, okay, she's not letting you see your child or whatever the case may be. You want to see, this is for the willing, right?
Not you deadbeats.
Yeah. I despise deadbeats.
We despise you deadbeats.
So all right, willing, they want to see their child. You have to go to the court. But before you go to the court, people say, oh, the court system, you have to go to mediation first. Man. Mediation is like $500 for an hour, for 2 hours or whatever. If she is not willing to come to an agreement, or they are not willing, not just putting on the women, if they're not willing to come to an agreement, then that's when it finally goes to the court. And then you also know that when you go to the court, they're going to look at the financial situation of the men versus the women, and then the custodial parent. But you're paying child support based off of your percentage of how many days you are with your kid, which comes from the mediation part. And the mediation part is when you're sitting there with a mediator, normally a white male or female, and you and her, and you're sitting there like, okay, I want 30 days or 15 days. Let's split it up 15-15. And she's like, hell nah, you only get every other weekend. And then all of a sudden you go to the judge, and the judge look at you like, fuck, I'll give you every other weekend. you deadbeat, even though you're not a deadbeat, because that's how they're looking at you.
Right.
That's when the system gets messed up to me.
Well, that's how you know that it's
That's on the individual.
that it's
You about
like resentment and
Exactly.
and wanting, because I'm like, you want cool. Come on,
But everybody's different. Everybody's different. Everybody's different.
Give me a break.
Everybody's different. I think, like I said, it's outdated. I think that we should give everybody a chance. Like if that man is saying, hey, I want to be with my child 15 days out of the month, and you get 15 days out of the month, if he's doing that consistently, he should be able to get that 15 days, and then you can. I don't have an issue with child support. I pay child support. I don't ask where it goes. I've never asked. There's one time I tried to get petty, like I ain't buying them nothing. I pay child support. I did that one time, and it was early on, and I was just pissed about something. I never.
So you was bitter?
That one time.
All right, so hold on. Women, men can get bitter too.
It wasn't bitter. It was just
I don't want women to be like, oh, they're only coming after the bitter baby mama. Like, no, men have feelings. Men be upset. We feel some type of way. Again, I'm speaking for the men with children. Me, no kids, no case. You feel me?
I've honestly felt, I only know a couple dudes that I feel like are deadbeats.
Right.
I don't really associate with a lot of deadbeats. I know
Right.
dudes are. Most dudes that I know want to be in their kids' life. The money aspect is a hindrance, and then it causes resentment.
But can you please let me chime in? And I think we gotta go to the left of this table after this. You hit on one thing. You said most of the people you know genuinely want to be in the child's life. Let's just go there for a second. Can I go there?
Go.
All right. So here's how I feel, man. When it comes to the relationship, and a motherfucker like your post said he's choosing not to be in this relationship. He did not say he does not want a relationship with their son. Mm-hmm. So here's honestly how I feel. You're bitter. You want to sugarcoat and say no, y'all bitter. Because the second that somebody does not give you what you want, the only way you can hurt him is keeping him away from his seed.
Yes.
That is the only way. So let's go there. So you carry RCs for 9 months. During that 9 months, if we're not together or we're not married, what obligation or responsibility do I have as a man during that time? I could check on you. I could bring you some food. I can do that. Make sure you're eating and not smoking and drinking and doing whatever the hell you was doing before while you carried this seed. But the second you on this table and you had a baby, we have zero control of our seed. You can say I'm dead. You can say you don't know who the father is. You can say a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, especially if you're not married.
If you're not married. So men, you have to, I feel like I have to say this, that you have to take control of your seed when he's a newborn.
Yeah.
That whole, we living together for a couple months, we break up, I'm trying to figure it out, bro. You setting yourself up for failure.
Gotcha.
If you allow yourself to be in that situation, you have not made the commitment level to put a ring on her for the reason why you at child support now.
Talk to it. Come on, man.
So,
now.
what you need to do is take responsibility for your seed. So I'll be transparent. I put myself on child support. My son was 4 months. I got a letter back from the Department of Family Services that said the mother of your child has refused assistance from social services. So I wasn't on child support, but what that did, that covered me.
So they went back.
You're not gonna hit me with back child support.
Right.
I put myself on. I don't give a damn if I'm sacking groceries at Price Chopper. All I can afford at this time, at 21, 22, 23 young man, is maybe $50. But I'm gonna try and do that. I'm gonna dictate I'm gonna get ahead of you. We're reactive, we're not proactive.
You have some good guidance.
But listen, now people have an issue with the system.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because I'm more so, I tell brothers, bro, they get married, hey bro, go down there
Put yourself
on. Ask for custody and put yourself on. But people like, I don't want the white man in my business.
Nah.
Bro, at the end of the day, it's gonna come back and kick you in the ass. Cause as soon as she get mad at your ass, as soon as she see you with some chick, or whatever happens.
Bruh,
Yo,
I promise y'all are leading this conversation in the right way.
Let's go.
Because the next question was like, now we really about to peel this onion back.
Let's go.
We about to peel this onion back. Damn. So we gonna go with Blair first because she look like she the kid in class like this.
Who bringing water to clear her voice and everything?
Right. So the next question that I have, right, and again, this platform is to positively advance the black culture. That's what exactly my point podcast is for. But in your experience, right, does child support help or hurt the black family? Blair, I'm gonna start with you.
Let's go.
Well, let me give you a brief rundown of my situation. I have 3 separate situations. My oldest daughter is 21. I got pregnant with her my senior year. Immediately after high school, I had my daughter. Her father chose to be absent in the beginning. He didn't want children, which I get. We're in high school. We knew what we were doing. My family didn't believe in abortion, so my daughter was born. He came to the hospital with his father. They were active for a couple months. He started coming around like the first year or so of her life. I had then moved into a different relationship with my second daughter's dad. We didn't have her until 3 years later, but once he saw I was with someone else, he vanished, and that was fine because, you know, I kind of knew he didn't want to be a father anyway. Fast forward, I'm with my second daughter's dad. We're together 3 years. We decided to start our own, you know, family and have another child. He comes back. I want to be in her life. My issue is I kept allowing him. Every time he wanted to come back into my daughter's life, I kept allowing him to come back because I did not want my daughter to not be around or have access to her biological father. So I feel like half of the stuff I went through and my child went through, it was my fault because I kept allowing it. So I ended up letting him come back, and you know, my second daughter's dad was like, you know, that's my daughter, I'm raising her, I'm taking care of her, stop allowing him to come in and out. So I'm in the middle, like, no, he wants to be a dad, let him be a dad. He's like, he ain't a dad. Fast forward. It didn't end up working with my second daughter's dad. I ended up getting pregnant, finding out I was 4 months pregnant, another lady was 5 months pregnant. So my daughter has a ghetto twin. So that didn't work. My first daughter's dad, a ghetto twin. But my first daughter's dad, once again, you know, would disappear. And then I waited. I ended up getting married years down the line. And he comes back again. And at this point, I want to be with you. I want to try to work it out with my daughter and a family. We were never a family. We were in high school. So I don't know where that came from. But stopping right there, there's bitter men too. And I'm going to be bluntly honest with you. This man told me to my face, if I can't have you, I'm not going to be there. So, baby daddy, I have A, B, and C. And I'm transparent about everything. I have no problem with putting it all on the table because one thing I refuse to do is keep making a baby with a man just to save face that I have the same baby daddy. That's not the type of time I'm on. My children are very far apart. I didn't have no children stair step, so it ain't like I went from one man to the next man to the next man. Like they're years apart. There's no reason why I have a 21-year-old and a 12-year-old, y'all, because I should be done right now. Nevertheless, so to this day, I mean, he's $45,000 in the hole, and he can stay there for all I care. You know, my second daughter's dad, so I have A, baby daddy A is on child support, baby daddy B is not on child support, but he brings my daughter money weekly. Because that's just an agreement that he chose with her. Like he chose, you know, he knows he can't be there as much as he wants to be physically. Not anything on my end or his end. He's just busy. He has a lot going on. So he tries, but they have their own thing. She's a senior, so you know they have their own bond. It's cool. Baby daddy C, which is my husband, ex-husband. He's not on child support at all. Never had to be. I believe child support is not for an active father, period. If you're active and you want to be active in your child's life, that is not what child support is in place for. Just to me.
That shit.
My ex-husband is an amazing father. He was not an amazing man, hence why we're divorced, but he's an amazing father. And regardless of if he brings me 50 cents or nothing, the fact that he's in my daughter's life, he's active, and my other daughters. Like I said, I met him when, you know, my kids were smaller, and he took over the responsibility of raising them with me or whatnot. So Child support was just never in my last 2 kids' fathers, nothing. Like it wasn't a thought because they were active and they were there. Women have to realize that you have to put your child first. You're hurting your kid when you don't. When you haven't let go of a situation, or child support is not because you're mad or you're upset that it didn't work. And that's where we get women that are on child support or receive child support, they get a bad name because it's always the bitter ones that have the front row of, I'm mad, I'm upset, we didn't work out, regardless of what the case may be. Like, I'd rather you be active and give me nothing than be absent and to send me a check.
Right, give me a motherfucking break.
I'll be the first to tell you. Now, on the flip side, I spent that check. When that check came, I spent it. I spent it on whatever the hell I wanted to spend it on. Because my kid she's taken care of anyway. Like, everything that they need, I provided. If it's lights, gas, water, a house, a car, clothes, food, I provided it. So if you sending me $200 every other week and your daughter's cell phone bill is due, I'ma pay it. If I got $50 to pay on these lights over here, I'm gonna take $50 of that money and pay these lights over here too, because it's simply the fact that you're not here. You don't get to determine what's going on with my house and this money that you're sending because you're not here. So I spent it on what I wanted to spend it on, but I'm all over the place. I just, again, do not believe that child support is for an active father. I can't understand why women would choose to, and it's men too, because I've seen some men as well, but would choose to keep your child away from a parent that wants to be there, or even a financial obligation because you're upset or you're angry. That's not the case. So, to back up a little bit, real quick, my oldest daughter's dad, to this day, he'll see me and try to talk to me or try to hold a.
I'm like, where my money at?
Listen.
No.
Where the money reside? Where the money reside?
Like, we don't have I don't understand how a human being can know that you've created somebody. And my daughter noticed you because she knows what you look like and so forth. And you walk right past my kid. And my kid is like, he looked at me and looked away. Like, how can you live your life or even live day to day knowing that you have a child out here that you don't know is alive or is dead or is breathing or anything, and just be okay with yourself? Yep. And when it comes to people holding people accountable, I know this man has plenty of associates, friends, family, whatever the case may be, and he's been placed on several pedestals. And I'd be like, do y'all know he has a daughter? Like, does anybody know this man's background? Like, you want to place this man up here on this pedestal, but y'all don't realize, like, he's a deadbeat father, a deadbeat ass father. Jeez. I have no problem with letting people know, like, putting it out there. I mean, she's grown now, she don't care, but I do realize that some of the decisions my daughter makes, I can kind of be like, is it because, I let her dad in and out? Is that why, like, a situation she might be dealing with now in her adult life, that she's allowing some in and out type of stuff in her life? Like, I have to always question myself, like, is it something I did? I'm very proud of her because she's 21, no kids, lives on her own, got her own house, car, job, everything. So I commend myself because I just felt like, as a teen mother, this is going to be kind of a repeat thing because people always make you feel like there's a chain and she's broken it. So I'm very ecstatic for that. So it's just, it's weird on my end. I believe it's in place for an absentee parent. Or if you were together and you break up and he was the breadwinner and maybe you're less fortunate right now and you are struggling and you need that help genuinely, then it should be an agreement on, you should help me. He should be willing to help you without that middle person. But if it's for whatever reason, it has to be taken to a next level because you guys can't communicate, then child support in that case might be a crutch. I don't think child support should be an ongoing thing just because you just feel like you need some extra, financial help. And if the parent is just willing to be active, that's my thing. Like,
So
I
if
get
they're
that
active-
if they're active and you feel like you being here is not enough.
Okay.
Like I get that you want to come see them or her, and I get that you want to, but I still need that money, and you want to be stubborn enough not to get it or work out something better. You know what I'm saying? Then maybe that's the case. But y'all men gotta stop being bitter. Y'all women gotta stop being bitter.
For the fathers on the panel that are paying child support, do y'all get those letters like every 3 or 5 years about modifications?
Not unless I ask.
Okay,
Look at
see,
that.
and that's what
Request.
that's what I was going to
If
say.
I request,
That's what I was going to
yes.
say, because I get them, and I know I make way more money than I made when this child support order first started, and I only get $270 a month. So I know I make way more money. So they send me modification lists. If I put my shit down, they're gonna be like, all right, you gonna get $75 a month. So I don't ever. So for you fathers
She
that
didn't
are
say that on
active,
camera for real.
I know, you just asked.
She didn't say that on camera for real. These are all hypotheticals right now. Let's just say we got you. She doesn't mean that. All right.
For example,
That's just an example. All right.
I'm unemployed right now.
So listen, Phil, I gotta come back to Phil. Cause Phil, I ain't forgot. Cause you said it's hard being.
Like for you fathers that do pay and are active, and y'all feel like y'all paying too much, ask the court for those modifications. Especially if you know y'all can start doing y'all investigations too on y'all baby mamas. Because if they get an education, you know, it's like, oh, your mama got that now. Oh, y'all need to start asking the courts for the modifications, and then she's mandated to submit her information,
Okay.
and then that can lower y'all's child support.
I want y'all to take note of the 2 women with kids up here with men who are on child support and how reasonable they are. And this is one of the conversations that you and me had is you have so many cases, especially people get on social media and they just be talking shit and this is generalized ass statements. And I told you, I said, dude, most women that I know that are reasonable, if you were doing what you needed to do, I'm not gonna put you on. I don't even have kids, and I'm telling you, if we did, and I know that you're gonna do what you need to do, what's the fucking point? But that's not what most men think about women because they see all these stories and people saying women is this, and you know what? In some cases they are. They're trash. They bitter too.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I
But-
celebrate every time Future wins. Hey,
Whoa.
Hey, hold on. I said, as shallow, I may not be shit. I'm gonna tell you
No,
why.
not you. I
Yeah.
said Future ain't
ain't shit, but I'm gonna tell you why I celebrate. And I ain't even got kids. I celebrate because I know them women looked at Future as a way to secure the bag.
Bro, this dude got like how many kids?
Right.
What makes you think you're gonna be different?
Right.
You obviously
So
know.
that's
Well,
why-
most of
You're
y'all
in it for
ain't
money.
teachers
You're in it
who
for
got
money.
this type of
He is not a good
bag
example in this.
That's why I say I celebrate for Future.
Most of
I
y'all
celebrate.
are not.
I do
Y'all
too.
have
But he's not gonna take a good
Alright, so
example.
but we kind of going the wrong way. Now I want y'all to answer the question though. Like the question was, does child support help or hurt the black family? Phil, I'm gonna come to you. You are a man who has custody of most of his children. That within itself is rare.
Yeah.
So you winning just off that you have custody of your children. So I'm gonna ask you, right? Does child support help or hurt the black family?
I think Sean said it best. You know, when you think about the idea that you might even owe $1 and it's going to show up in your credit report. You can't get a house, can't get a car, you might lose out on an opportunity of a job. It's scary. For me, I can't play the blame game because I have a 9-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old son by a woman who now lives in Austin, Texas. Now, it's not court-appointed, but she sends money every 2 weeks. So, kind of like Tish was saying about putting money to the side. For me, that is so hard, but I understand the idea that you have to put the money to where it's supposed to go. So you got to pay rent. You got to pay utilities. You put that money wherever it's supposed to go. But I have gotten to where you've gotten to now, just recently in the last 3 or 4 months, where I'm able to put money to the side. Like Christmas for us was really easy because I'm finally figuring out financially how to take that money along with the money I make, you know, and not calculate the money that I have to pay for child support for another one of my children that does not live with me. And it just makes that whole process work. But it's scary when you think about opportunities that you might not have because you owe $1,500 in bad child support. Or like I was stating earlier, in a situation where I found out I was sick last spring and it changed things for me because as I started doing chemo, I couldn't work as much as I wanted to.
Right.
So the state don't care. The state doesn't care at all that I'm not working. All of a sudden, that child support payment's due that month, and the next one's due the following month, and now all of a sudden I'm in a hole that I think, a lot of us are speaking about communication. That's the word. If the adults could just sit in the room and have a conversation, say, you know what, it is not necessary for me to get child support from you these next 6 to 12 months. And cancel that out. When you get better and things get back to normal, some form of normality for you, here's an opportunity for us to pick back up. Or like we was talking about tissue modification, an opportunity to say, you know what, you've done what you're supposed to do. I've watched this process and I've seen what you're going through. It's not necessary, but that ugly word bitterness, keeps showing back up, and that's what plays a role when you have adults who cannot communicate. So it is very hurtful. It's very hurtful when adults can't sit in the room and have a conversation and say, you know what, you're sick, you're not working. I don't need a dime from you. I'm going to call the state myself, because what a lot of people don't understand, a woman can call the state herself and say, hey, let's just zero this all out. State can't do nothing but let them come on in, sign that piece of paper, you sign that piece of paper, and now it's a zero.
Bro, I never do that.
Yep.
Yes.
I did that. I wiped off $10,000 before.
You're a real one.
In taking your word that you're gonna be there, and you've tried, and I went down there and we went together and I signed it off, 10,000 back years and years ago, and he did right up until so we really not gonna be together, and then it was the same thing again. I've already done that. I'm not doing that no more. I want my 50.
Keila, let me talk to you.
Where's my money?
Keila, let me talk to you, because you and I have had extensive conversation on Facebook, and I don't have a problem with saying Keelan is pro-black, and there's nothing wrong with being pro-black. You should want your people to excel. You should want to cheer for your people. Like Wale said, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's just real. So there's nothing wrong with that. But so I'm gonna ask you, like, you've been a man in a fraternity, you're around good brothers, you're around guys who are pillars in their community, but you also work in a situation, like you say, you're working with children, you volunteer your time, you see the aspects of not being involved in a child's life, especially with young black men. Like you said, you're working with the young men in the court system. How does child support help or hurt the black family, just in your experience? You can speak personally, you can speak professionally, but just kind of give us some insight on that.
When I look at it I think that it helps, because obviously to raise a child, you need the finances, and the biggest issue is just the communication aspect. So if the communication aspect is better, you will be able to figure out the financial aspect between the parents, co-parenting, but there's always egos, bitterness, whatever that comes into play. Not always, but I would say 8 times out of 10.
Right, the majority of the time. That's just being real.
So does it hurt the black family? I think it hurts the black family because it starts to put a dollar figure on the child. And when you start putting a number on a child, I mean, what is a child worth? So if my child is this many $100 a month and your child is $275, that means your child is worth more than my child. That doesn't mean that each child should be worth the same, each child valuable. I think that it hurts because a lot of people, I think it's emotional intelligence. Because sometimes men are like, all right, well, I'm paying this month, I ain't gotta do this, I ain't gotta do that. And
that's not the best way to go about it. So for you guys that just want to hide behind your little financial obligations, that's not right either.
Yeah, man, there's so many ways we can go with this, because each individual situation is different.
Yeah.
And so it's like you can go a whole bunch of ways with
You can. This is an onion that you definitely peel back.
Yeah.
But I feel like, the child support, yes, there's a financial mandate that comes with it.
It's the time.
But it's the time. And I feel like
more men like, yeah, bro, I understand the financial component gets in the way. But you have to be persistent and adamant about getting your time with your child.
That's
Bro,
the thing.
but
You have to be adamant about the time. The court system is where
that's hard to do. You gotta think. There's some people, bro, if I'm already paying child support or I'm in debt in child support, then I have to hire an attorney to even get in front of a judge.
Right.
That's
But you
more
gotta
money.
mediation
But I
first.
gotta go to
Right.
mediation and then pay another $500 to do it in front of that. Bro, our investment is already solidified. If you're taking her to court, you are showing, to me, that's if a man takes you to court, ladies, if a man takes you to court, that motherfucker cares. I'm just being honest with you. Just facts. He's invested time and effort to show you, I don't care how much this is cost. I want my kid. I want my seed. I want my child to be around and be with me. Dog, it's misconstrued, dog. Like, to me, the dollar amount don't matter.
Right.
It don't matter.
When my son was first born, and I don't talk about like my personal stuff, social media. I don't have an issue. Like, me and his mom, we had our issues, whatever. But I never really cared about paying the money. I wanted the time. So when I went to court, you know, you go through the mediation. You have to try to. I mean, you go through the mediation, but then you got to go through another mediator to figure out between you two how many hours
of the day.
Yeah, like, hey, what are you gonna do with it? And
what time you drive?
And then all of a sudden, if you don't agree, then you go to court, and then that judge says, "This is what I'm gonna give you." Depending on how good your lawyer is or their lawyer is, this is what I'm gonna give you. And it can be some BS. Like, I feel like I got the deadbeat daddy.
That's
I got the deadbeat daddy.
It's like if there's a package they gave you the deadbeat package.
Here you go.
No, this is real. I got every other weekend, and then on Wednesdays I got 4 to 8 p.m. I didn't get off work till 5. Like, so I'm late to pick him up already out the gate. And so what we gonna do? Go get some food, and then like, hey, let's
All right, you ready to go back?
You ready to go back home? You know what I'm saying? That is the deadbeat daddy package. So get that to the deadbeats, not to the dudes like me that want to be with my kids. So then I go back, because people say you get a modification, you gotta wait some years.
Boy, the modification, you got 3.
You can't get a modification. Exactly.
You got 3.
You gotta wait some years. So you go get your modification. But when you go get your modification, hopefully you know you've progressed in your career. So you know you're gonna pay more for child support. I don't care about the more in child support. I want the time and the days, right? You want to get more days. But even still, you're still at the will of the court. So you're gonna pay more and hopefully get more days. So you get that percentage, the percentage goes up, but then your pay is going up. So I don't really care about paying more on whatever it is I'm getting. Then I'm getting these extra days, a couple extra days a month. It's not like they're gonna say, hey, we're gonna give you 50-50 now, because you're gonna get 30-70 or something like that. Every other weekend and a Wednesday, a full Wednesday now, maybe.
Krishan, talk to him.
I got a question, bro. To me, if I'm all right, so your situation I'm listening to, and it sounds you're definitely active. If I got 50-50 or the kids are spending time with me, why should I give you any money?
I don't mind child support. I'm just being real. I don't care about the child support part. I don't care about the money. He needs money.
You got questions now.
The kids need money.
If 50-50, if we're splitting time,
But
if the kids are at your house and in my house, there's 365 days in a year. You split that down in the middle of what you got.
How often does that
Okay,
happen?
so
No, I'm just saying,
like they're with you, like they're with you, and they're not with the mother.
You're
In between
50-50.
for those days, and
You're 50-50.
I don't think child support should be paid on either party at that point if it's 50-50.
But there are people that have 50-50 custody and still paying child support.
That's
But
rare.
you're
It's gotta be
ignoring
rare,
the root
bro.
issue. These are system issues.
You're right.
They're
That's
not
my
hidden
point.
The key word is system.
Okay, great. See, listen, I'm glad I picked it. Because I'm coming back to him. Because that's the next question. That's actually the next question. Like, y'all just created the segue into that. And I'm gonna come with you, Phil. I'm gonna start with you. Knowing that child support is designed to destroy the black family, do you think it is beneficial to our culture if we made amendments to the child support system?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start with you,
Of
Phil.
course.
So speak on it, like dive into it, bro. Like your situation is different and it's unique. So yes, tell us why there needs to
Forgive
be
me,
some
Mitchell, because I don't know your situation, but my daughter Tori, who lives in Raymore, just turned 10 in December. Sean, I feel you.
Yeah.
It was February 13th, 2010. She was born in 2009. I filed the paperwork.
Man.
It says Philip Dawson versus.
Yeah.
That's what it says. That's what it says in state. Philip Dawson versus. I feel like, and forgive me, but it's like we as men sometimes pussyfoot around things.
Yep.
Because, yes, 50-50 is rare, but how about 60-40? We have every single holiday, even if it's a BS holiday, accounted for. My daughter's birthday is December 28th. If you have it for Christmas, you can't have it for her birthday. So if you get it for Thanksgiving, you get it for her birthday. For Christmas, the other parent gets it. For Halloween, I didn't care if her mom didn't celebrate. And I think the problem is we're so busy kind of letting somebody else just take the lead. Instead of saying, you know what? I'm going to lead this situation myself.
Yep.
And that's what I did at that time. And I was young and dumb. 2009 wasn't worth nothing. Had a little BS job driving a school bus. Like I wasn't making no real money, but I looked at the situation. I paid for my, matter of fact, law firm.
Around the corner. Yeah.
That was my lawyer. Okay, $1,604 is what I had to pay. But when I got to that mediation, I didn't allow myself to go in there. And I was dealing with her mother's white. I was dealing with a situation where I was worried that I was going to be the angry black man. So I walked in there patient with this little BS briefcase, you know, with the Facebook posts and stuff she was writing. Not letting me have my daughter, asking people, you know, I'm trying to go out tonight. Anybody want to watch my daughter? Stuff like that. Prepared because I didn't want to pussyfoot around the situation. So like I said, I don't know your situation at all. But I feel like we as men sometimes, we get mad after the fact. Instead of sitting down and saying, you know what, I already see what this is going to be. I'm going to go ahead and spearhead this whole process. And I got the paperwork. Sometimes at home I find myself looking at it like, dang, I was really mature in that moment, even though I was super immature in real life. And the idea of, I'm going to fight for as much as I can get. And I had to pay child support. I think the minimum in Missouri at the time was $235. It didn't matter. You know, I wanted every bit of my daughter, and knowing that her mother, lived on Duck Road, and I lived down here across the street from the high school in Winchester. You know where I stay. My mama still got a house over there.
Right.
It was weird to me having a child that was 1.5 miles, 2 miles away from my house that I could not see. It was weird to me that I'd spent time with this woman. We were best friends.
Right.
And when I was in Maryville, she used to come up all the time and stay and stuff like that. And to not be able to see my daughter, it broke me. But I spearheaded the process. And I feel like as men, we always get caught up in this idea of, I'll take care of this later. Or I'll let somebody else handle it. And then we want to go back and redo everything.
How did you do 60-40
I got
though?
60.
Bro, like, nah,
No, and
because
I'm not BSing either.
no, because like
Let me tell you something.
60-40 to me, for a man to win custody, basically you have custody. So you're the custodial parent.
Yes.
So for
Yeah.
Like I get her technically Thursday through Sunday.
Your physical address, parent.
Well, no, hers. No, I don't have 60.
All right, so
I'm sorry. I have 40. She has 60.
okay, well then
So
my
forgive me.
situation's the same as
So
yours.
it's the
Then.
same.
I'm like,
So I apologize.
It's
Look,
really
she
designed.
lives in Raymore.
okay,
with her mother, but I get her every
because it's
single
hard
week.
for a male
Right.
to be the custodial
And I knew
parent
that
unless
would be
that
the case.
unless she has some type of issue going on, or unless she
Correct. I
decides.
apologize. But
Unless
it's
she
the other way
decides.
around.
Yeah, like when I went to court, it was, you know, we split the holiday every other year, odd year, even year, and all that stuff. Like I said, I have no issue with, when I was younger, we were younger, it was like, all right, man, I'm trying to do this. But now I'm older,
Little kids, man.
you know, you get your child support, it's not about the money, it's about the time. And I think that the time is okay, I would love to have more, but my son's now 14, so I'm like, you know, maybe he starts to realize, hey, maybe he'll talk to her and say, I want to spend some more time with my dad, or I don't. If he comes to me and say, I don't want to come to your house right now. You're 14, shit, I'm coming.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All right, cool, go do what you got to do. I'm just being real. I'm not going to force him at 14, 15, 16 years old to start trying to hang out with his dad when he's trying to go do what he's trying to do. You know what I'm saying? But I would love for him. So basically to me, it's like, anytime you call me and say, come and get me, I want you to be with me, or I'm going to call you on that Thursday night when I'm supposed to pick you up and say, hey, I'm coming to get you, what's up? If you say, I want to come to you this weekend, I'm like, all right, well, cool. You do what you gotta do. You must got something else going on. So as we get older, I'm 41. As you get older, I think I look at it a little bit differently than when I did when he was 14 years ago, where I'm like, nah, he has to come with me. He needs to be around me. I want him around, and I don't care how much it is. I don't care about this. Like I said, I don't care about the money. The money's not the issue. It's more about the time, because I know that as a kid, you're developing that kid, and you want that time with your child. But I thought that you had 60-40.
No, and I apologize.
I was like, ooh.
But I mean that though. I think we get caught up in the process of waiting and allowing somebody else to dictate our outcome.
Okay, so I'm glad
You
we
can't
got
with the system.
we got,
You can't. You
we
have
got the man perspective on
It's the
that.
system though.
I gotta tap
To an
in.
extent.
Not really. If you go to
I gotta
court,
tap in with
you can tell them what you want. If you go to court, you can put down on paper what you want. And mediation. Because if you go to mediation, you say, I want this many days, this many hours, whatever. And she could say, nah, I don't want to give you those days.
Bro, I
You're
had
not
somebody
agreeing.
walk out of mediation.
You walk out of mediation, you have to go at that point in time.
We didn't have to do that, but that's why I said.
That's what I'm saying. You didn't have to do
You're
that.
right, but I'm saying the communication gap in y'all situations, or in a lot of people's situations, was to the point of, why do you think it got to that?
Man,
Y'all
tell
think
me.
I'm here.
Listen, I think my son's mother's a bad
Gotta look at root
I don't think my son's
causes.
playing
There
bad.
are causes or not. It's one, the system is messed up.
It's the
That's one root
system.
cause. But two, it's communication on our end.
Judges
One of
don't
But you
care,
can-
y'all.
Exactly.
You can also
Say that again. I think Blair say that again.
Judges do not care.
Thank you.
That's the issue.
I got
They
a
don't
divorce.
care.
Me and my ex-husband, we stayed married, and this is crazy. We stayed married until we both were over each other. And I know it sounds weird. We decided we were gonna break up, and it wasn't bitter, but it was a little just spicy a little bit. To the point to where if we would have did it right then and there, it could have been he's gonna try to take my daughter from me. Because again, excellent father, but it would have been some funk type of stuff. So we waited. We separated. We were separated for like 6 years. He lived in his house, I lived in mine. We were separated. He dated, I dated. I told the people this is what it is. I know what it looks like. When we finally decided we're ready to do this, we went and got a divorce. And that's like my nigga. Like, we like this. We went and got a divorce. We go in there, we got our stuff rolled up. We in there doing our handshake. Like, we get up there, we're watching the people go in front of us, and we like, damn, this woman got 120,000 in this 401k. Like, it was just crazy how they were battling, how you love somebody at one point, and y'all are to this point to where it's your lawyer speaking. We represented ourselves. We didn't have no lawyers. We just went up in there. Boom. We get up there. We like whoop whoop wop. We got it laid out. And she's like, okay.
What's
What's
the
the child
girls
support?
like the aliens? Man. Y'all are just like so logical. Like y'all are so logical and just so like.
But the judge still effed him over, didn't they?
They asked.
The judge still effed him over, didn't they?
No. So they asked, okay, so what's the child support? And I was like, there's no child support.
Thank you.
She was like, so you're not putting him on child support? I was like, no.
Nah.
What is your custodial? I was like, we got a thing, we got it going on. She still had me fill out
The paperwork.
child support, and I had to go through, and then at the end put 0, and it still was like. So you realize that you don't want any of his 401k.
She almost had to blink twice.
It's my 401k. Stop talking about 401k, ma'am, because he could get half of mine. So shut your ass up, okay? She's like, you sure you don't want anything? And I'm like, no. She's like, well, once we seal this deal, you can't go back and get anything from him. I get that, and I'm looking like, damn, are you that, like, really? Y'all want our men to just fail so bad? You want me to say, yes, I want this, and yes, I'm putting him on child support. And they were looking at us like, so you don't want none of his 401k,
Where's the
you don't want nothing from him, you don't want child support.
At the table?
No. I'm like, I want anything. The only thing I want was my last name back.
I'm
That
glad you
was it.
said that, but for some people, right now, let's really dive into this because you know it could go back to the question: does child support help or hurt the black family? And I always equate it back to how slavery was, right? And follow me where I'm going with this. When we came off slavery, when we came off the boats, right? They did what they did to the biggest and strongest of black men to set a precedent.
Correct.
But even then, they still knew the value of the black woman. We can't create more slaves if we kill off the black woman. So to a certain extent, we have to care for her. Fast forward now, look at the situation, right? If a man cannot take care of a kid, he goes to jail essentially. If a woman can't take care of a kid, granted she does have full autonomy over her body, she has the right to give the kid up for adoption. She has the right to abort the child. If she decides to keep the child, she gets WIC and medicated, right? So to me, I look at it from a systemic standpoint.
But it messed that at that point in time in 1975, you decided to. I mean, it's just like I feel like segregation messed up the whole.
And you're right with that, but that still doesn't stand from the standpoint to a certain extent that we, like Philip said, have to be more accountable.
You have to be active.
You have to be active and let's be real. Let's be real. The active and the accountability start, and I say accountability is bigger. The accountability part is bigger than the active part because the accountability starts with your sexual endeavors and how you're responsible.
Most definitely.
So if you don't want no child, wrap it up. Don't make
There's
one.
multiple pieces to that.
People are in love and this is the love of my life.
At the end of the day, 1 + 1 = 2. You can give a bunch of variables. But at the end of the day, when you dive into intercourse, we know as consenting adults what can happen. So if you know that and you put yourself in that situation, to a certain extent, you have to hold yourself accountable.
But bro,
to what can happen. Now understand.
People have kids 5 years after marriage, and stuff still happens.
Listen, I understand what y'all are saying. I understand its variables. What I'm saying is this: a lot of this could be alleviated on both parts if we thought rationally. How we. Alright, so look, all I'm saying is this. Y'all trying to dance around, all I'm saying is this. At the beginning of it, when you decide that, hey, you're gonna pop, at the end of the day, when you said you're gonna pop them buns. Now, it's different. Okay, it's different. Like, you're speaking from a standpoint of a married man.
No, I ain't.
Okay.
From a standpoint.
Alright, so now if we're speaking as a standpoint, if we're speaking of a standpoint of just man and woman, let's just be real.
You had sex with a woman and created.
You know what it is when you slide in that thing raw. You know what it is.
You just think about
That's again. It's given. It's like pie. You know the formula for pie is always going to be 3.14. It's not going to change. So you know if you have sex unprotectedly, there is a chance you can have a baby. So you have to be prepared for that.
Who is prepared? This home.
This is a deeper issue.
I really didn't let me rock. I had to talk over all y'all. But I got it.
Okay. We gonna calm it down.
But let me rock one time. Bro, everything you said is fact, and I agree with you. 2 consenting adults can't create a baby. That's 100% responsible. But once you have that seed in you, the male is separated. This nigga's over here, and she's over here. There is no compromise on nothing.
I get that.
Hold on. So what you're saying is don't create unless you know the consequences. So what you basically saying is don't sleep with a chick that know that's gonna hang you up and
if you ain't gonna marry her, why knock her up? Why hit her up?
Marriage or not, it
Bro,
doesn't
1975.
It had nothing to do with
Child support was for divorcees.
Thank you.
So but
y'all living in 19. We talking about right now. Y'all wasn't born in 1975. So stop hanging on 1975 rules, and y'all wasn't born in 1975.
But we're talking about child support.
Child support is still
But
based
we're
on.
I understand it. Hey, listen. At the end of the day, ask me this question. Answer this question. It's simple. How do you get a child? How is a child created? Listen, I don't want nothing else. I just want y'all to answer that question. How's a child created? Okay, so if you know that, right? And I understand there's different variables. People can love you and then not love you again. I totally understand. I understand that. I'm not disputing that. But what I'm saying, let's be real. No, I'm not, Rashawn. You said you gonna let me rock. Let me rock.
You been right.
Let me rock. I'm not right now. You interrupted.
Let's go.
Okay, so I'm saying if you know that if 1 + 1 = 2, you know that it can't change now, right? So all I'm saying is, why give somebody to a certain extent that power over you? And that's not based on male. That's not directed towards the male. That's not directed towards the female. No, what I'm saying is this.
directed to people with kids.
What I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is this. Krishan, you're a married man. You created a kid out of you. I understand. So what I'm saying is that the fact that you weren't created, the fact that you weren't married, Krishan, when you have that, at the end of the day, you still gave that woman to a certain extent some power over your future.
Exactly.
You did. Like I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, Rashawn, but this is what I'm saying. At the end of the day, you still gave her some input of how your future can be impacted. Because like you said, all she has to do is be bitter. Like that's real. You can be the greatest father in the world. You can be the greatest baby daddy in the world. But if she wakes up one day and says, you know what? I don't like you because you did this, this, and this.
She can do that when she's married.
Again, so married people. I'm not disputing. Again, I didn't say if a woman did this. I said if consenting adults know. No, I didn't say. I said if consenting adults know that 1 + 1 = 2. Then to a certain extent, you can't allow somebody to have that power over.
But they do, and that's the whole reason why you did this podcast.
I know.
That's the whole reason why.
That doesn't mean I have to.
To be continued. Okay, can I speak on that?
No, you're not gonna speak.
In a more eloquent manner.
Next question.
I don't think he's saying that you are to blame and this and that. I think he is saying that there is a sense of self-responsibility in having sex with
There
you.
is a sense of that.
He just didn't say it that way.
There is a sense of that. But he's trying to make it seem like if you're so in love with this person,
I'm not saying that. I also said even if you're not married, you know that if you're not going wife, there's a difference if you're making a child
never know.
out of love. We say that's different. We say that's different now after the fact that the child is born. But in the minute that the child is conceived, a lot of that is based off lust. That's fact. Let's be real. We can be real. Is it based off love or lust?
It's both based off lust.
Okay, then, so that's my only thing. If you know that, understand. All I'm saying that if you understand that it's based off of lust, there is a possibility that you can give somebody an opportunity to influence your future. I'm not saying it could happen, but there is an opportunity that could happen, whether they're bitter or not.
Blair and Tish, when you got outside of the men, when Blair and Tish had sex with the men that they had the babies by, did you expect to be in the situation you were in?
Thank you. You did.
I didn't say that.
Bro, you did though.
Okay, but I'm saying, again, at the end of the day, I know that you didn't expect for that to happen.
Let me know when I can talk.
But do we know? Let's not act like we not know what could be some of the ramifications. And it's not just physical, because we also know we can have a podcast episode on this, soul ties.
Let me know when I can talk.
So just because you into the sexual shit and we make a baby out of lust, there's some things that come with it beyond just the baby. So all I'm saying in that standpoint, I'm not knocking nobody. Listen, I'm not knocking nobody that has a child. I'm not knocking nobody at any of that. All I'm saying is, to a certain extent, as adults, we have to be responsible for who we procreate with, because at the end of the day, certain situations are gonna come with that.
Those types of emotions are why most of us have these situations with the courts.
Again, okay, and I'm not saying that that's not. All I'm saying is we understand that there's a consequence for everything, bro. So I'm not saying nobody's right, I'm not saying nobody's wrong, but to a certain extent, do we not have to be responsible with what we're doing?
You have to be responsible.
Okay, so that's all I'm saying. Okay, so if I didn't if I didn't speak that right, let me speak that right then.
Okay.
There has to be a certain level of responsibility on both parents before the child is even conceived. Because if you know you're laying down with somebody out of lust, we all have physical needs. I'm not saying don't attend to your physical needs. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying walk around and be a virgin. That I'm not saying. But what I'm saying is this.
So
Nobody else talk, bro.
you saying Snoopy who like that, they use a condom. Condoms are 100%. Condoms don't slip off. Condoms don't bust. Condoms don't break. And you end up with a baby even though you were trying to be responsible.
Yeah.
That once again, these are individual cases. You have a lot of people who are raw dogging the shit out of people and don't give a fuck.
That's why I said be
So,
responsible. Be responsible.
Every situation is individualized. I will say that everybody's situation is
You ain't
different.
lying. They be lying about that.
That's why I said be
Ain't it wrong?
responsible. I'm not saying that y'all laid down and just was irresponsible. I'm not talking about nobody on this planet. But what I'm saying, let's not act like people do not go around and are irresponsible with what they do with
I
their
get it.
life.
People being irresponsible, they fucking, and then, you know.
So again, I'm not attacking y'all.
She on Section 8 and everything else, and they doing whatever. And they be two irresponsible motherfuckers coming together and procreating, making babies, and now they going to the
Right, all of y'all are responsible.
But
That's why y'all up here.
I know, I got some grown-ass men that are trying to be number 4, and they're 10, 40 and all, and I'm like, are you serious?
That's what I'm saying. Like, to a certain extent, there has to be a level of responsibility, like, just in general. Like, we know what we're doing. You don't get into a car, like, we all got cars. We know there's a level of responsibility when operating a car. You know that when you get in the car. That's why some of us say, no, I'm not driving, I'm too drunk to drive. Because there's a level of responsibility that comes with it. It's the same thing with making a baby. You have to look at it from a standpoint, I hate to say this, but sometimes you have to look at it. In 10 years from now, will I really love this person? And if I don't, what could be the ramifications of that? And I say it's easier said than done, but sometimes a lot of us, you guys have spoken how you had children young. So I'm not speaking to the younger version of you. I'm not speaking to the younger people, because this platform ain't for that. I'm talking about adults.
no, my kids are 11
I mean,
years
I was
old.
married, I got married, our baby was planned. I never thought divorce would have been an option.
I'm
I mean,
not
we made her out of
making
love.
that about your situation. You made a baby out of love. You were
Right.
married. I'm not speaking on that. Shit happens
It
in that
still ended in
situation.
a divorce where it still could have ended in a child support type of.
Right. So what I'm
outcome.
saying is and I'm speaking to most of the single people. I'm not speaking to people who are married, you have a baby and you get divorced. That's totally different. That's totally different. I'm talking to the people who are out here who are just haphazardly making children. Or haphazardly just being sexually active. You have to know what comes with those consequences, because it goes back to what Phil says. A lot of men, I've heard, like playing football, you hear a lot of stories, horror stories about dudes not being responsible or being proactive when taking care of their children. But you ask them like, bro, did you wear a condom? No, I didn't. Nigga, you knew what was about to happen. So you can't come in here and play the victim act with us.
Ooh.
Same thing with women. You knew the nigga was a player. You knew it. When you lay down with, hold on,
You're going on something else.
Because that goes back to your nigga celebrating.
Yeah, you're going on a whole other thing now.
no, I'm saying some of us, listen, we're all creatures of habits. When you get with a person, let's not be real. But for the most part, a lot of us have done our homework on people before we've gotten with them. Let's not sit here and act like that. You have.
Exactly. If you land with a motherfucker,
You have. I never said that people don't change. I said that people change. I give you that. But let's not act like some people ignore red flags.
They do.
You can't sit here and tell me you want to play the victim act when you ignored all the red flags.
Okay,
That's who the people I'm talking to.
Everybody know what red flags are.
Thank you.
Everybody
We're there.
was taught what red flags were.
past that.
So those are I'm not talking to
I'm
anybody.
asking you. Everybody was. So everybody know the red flags of a nigga that's a player or a nigga that.
Or a
seems
nigga
like he
genuinely
got
who
some-
ain't shit.
So everybody knows those red flags.
Right.
Everybody was exposed to those. Every
Right.
woman was exposed to those, right? Is that what you're saying? Absolutely not. There's some.
So you wouldn't agree with me. You wouldn't agree with me
You gotta
that you know.
recap, bro. You gotta wrap this.
We about to wrap it up now. We about to wrap it up. So all I'm saying is, you don't think that you know people said, because 90%, I totally agree with that. 90% of communication is nonverbal. People tell you who they are without saying anything to you. I give you an example. All of us have jobs. We communicated with them jobs without even saying anything to them by filling out an application. They knew our name, they knew where we went to school at, they knew our address, they knew our hobbies, they knew our skill set.
But how did you know how to do all that?
Thank
You
you,
were
bro.
taught. You were taught. So somebody has to teach somebody
Okay,
to look
and-
out for those red flags.
Tish, you and I have talked that you learn those red flags by watching certain situations develop in front of your eyes.
Hey, hold on, Zach, bro. We've been going. Let me ask this question because I feel like Blair is a valuable asset on this table because what you're saying is that Blair should have known
Right.
that her end result was gonna end in divorce.
Again, I didn't say
Hold
that.
up.
She said she was married.
Bro.
Before you say that, before you put words in my mouth, I said she was married.
Can I get done with my statement, bro?
Just correct, just be right when you say
Bro,
I said
but
she
you've
was
been
married.
talking this whole time.
Go ahead.
So can somebody else talk?
Go ahead.
So when it comes to Blair's situation, you're married and have kids with this man. So when you saying, oh, I'll lay down with somebody and have a baby, you know what the outcome is. But you're committed in a level to where you took an oath with this person. And now you're divorced now. Bro, you didn't know that outcome was gonna come. The shit you're saying, bro, is not accurate.
Okay, Krishan.
How can I finish?
If you gonna quote me, quote me.
I didn't quote you.
You did. You just said I said that.
No, I didn't. I said Blair. I said Blair's. Bro, I didn't quote you.
Don't quote me. Make sure what we said.
What I need though, I know this your show. I know this your
It's
show.
it's our show.
Hold on.
It's our show.
I need you to understand, bro. I know this your show. I respect everything you saying. What I'm telling you is, bro, you're wrong.
But I don't have kids. No kids.
You're wrong right now.
No.
You are. So whenever you get through, nobody in this table agrees with you.
Okay, you don't
Right now. And that's fine. What I'm telling you, the reason why you're wrong and the reason why you're doing to everybody else what you're doing to everybody at this table, bro, you're over talking them.
I'm not.
You are. Just like you're talking now. And I'm telling you, bro, you don't know what the fuck it's like. Being at this table, being vulnerable to tell somebody you laid with a motherfucker and now deal with the consequences. So you're telling a man that's submissive to a woman to carry the seed, even if you fucked up by giving her the seed, you submissive to that seed. You saying, hold up, you're two consenting adults. Ain't that what you said?
Yes.
So deal with the consequences. Ain't that what you said?
No, I said we
you know what the
I
consequences.
said you know.
Okay, cool.
You know what the consequences? That's
So
what
I said,
hey,
hey,
you gonna call me Krishan,
bro.
hold me right, bro. I said we know what the consequences. I said we know what the consequences. I didn't say that. I said we know what the consequences. Krishan. See, that's what I'm saying.
Bro.
You're getting emotional now. I didn't attack you.
emotional.
All I said was this. So
I'm
hear
trying
out what I
to
said. I didn't overtalk you. This is what I said. I said I understand it's different when you're married. Because you planned that wrong, it's all. I said I understand when you're married. That's different than when you're haphazardly out. Did I not say haphazardly? I said when you're listen, Krishan. Because you're taking one thing, you're making it different. I'm not talking about talking about the people who are married.
It don't matter.
That is very different. That's different.
Have you raw dog?
When I first
Have you raw dog?
Yes, I have.
Thank you.
And guess what, Krishan?
And
if I had one, guess what, Krishan?
Yeah.
I know what happened. I gotta deal with that.
Yeah.
Now I can be like Phil said. I can be proactive.
Yeah.
And go put myself on child support.
Yeah.
Because I know what the fuck I did. Or I can wait for the shit to happen like some people do. All I'm saying is to end all of that shit. If you don't want to put yourself, hold on. If you don't want to put yourself in that situation and you're a single person, not a married person.
Yeah.
You're married. You've been married. So I'm not talking about people who took vows in front of God. So don't put that on me, my nigga. I come with parents who've been married for 36 years.
Yep.
I understand what you're saying. So I'm not saying for people who are married, who are trying to do things the right way and shit just went sour. I'm not saying, yo, you got to deal with what happened. No, because essentially that is a business. You invested in that. So you are owed reparations for that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking to the people who are out here single.
Yeah.
Who go out and sleep around with people unprotectedly and you know what's going on. If we're going to educate the people, let's talk to the people who are irresponsible. That's who I'm talking to. The people, I'm going to let you in. The people that are on this platform I have the utmost respect for because you're great people, you're great parents. The shit that you've been through, you didn't let that overcome your situation of being a great parent. So I respect that. I'm closing it now, but you tried to put me on the spot like I was wrong, and I'm talking to the people who are irresponsible. Because as black men, I look at a black man like this, I look at a black man like that, I look at a black man like Dre and Doe, who fight to be in their kids' lives. And we know niggas that we went to school with who are just out here knocking up chicks and not being responsible for them. It makes y'all look bad. Because they say black men don't take care of their kids. So that's where I'm going with that, my nigga. I know you're a great father. I say that every week. This nigga's a great father because I've seen it. I just don't hear about it. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. This man is fighting for his life on a daily basis. He's a great father. Doe is a great father. Dre is a great father. So I'm not speaking to the fathers who are active in their child's lives, who are trying to make it right with their baby moms, whether they on good terms or bad terms. I'm not speaking to y'all. I'm speaking to the people who are irresponsibly making children. Because at the end of the day, the children suffer. And that's my point with it. Because we know what happens when we lay down and we have sex unprotectedly. We know the ramifications that come with that. It's different when you're married, you plan that. But when you're just a single individual out here and you just do what you want to do, you're irresponsible. Because it makes the women that do it the right way look bad. It makes it harder for them. That's what I'm saying. So I'm speaking to the people who are irresponsible. I'm not speaking to the people who are responsible and who take care of their responsibilities. So please don't get that misconstrued. So if I offended anybody, I apologize, but that's not my intent. My intent was to hold the people who are accountable, the people who are irresponsible accountable, and give them some perspective like, hey bro, when you make a baby, it's more than just you that's affected. It's your family members. It's the girlfriend, it's the baby mama, it's the child that's affected. Everybody's affected when you're irresponsible, period, as an adult. That's what I was saying. So if I didn't express that in a manner that was conducive to this platform, I apologize. I wasn't trying to offend anybody. But what I am trying to do is keep it real. We know of people who go around and make babies or have babies and are irresponsible. True. We know that. So let's not sugarcoat that shit and act like we don't know of people like that. We do. And those people, to a certain extent, put a bad stain on the people that do it right. Because now you're generalized to the public in that form. Keelan, how many times will people be surprised when they see you with your son? Like, oh, I didn't know black dads really hang with that son. Krishan, you told me that yourself. Yeah. On the last episode.
Most definitely. I don't like people talking to me about my kids.
Exactly, so that's all I'm saying. I'm not speaking to the people who are damn good parents, despite of what life is throwing. I'm not speaking to them. If the shoe fits. I'm speaking to the people who are irresponsible about the shit. That's who I'm speaking to.
So tell them where we at, cuz.
First off, we at Vivid Events at 824 Main Street in Grandview, Missouri. That's where we at. So Sade Shears, we definitely appreciate you for hosting us this evening.
Yep.
You can find me and Krishan on Instagram at exactly my point at EX _ZACH _LY _ my point.
Damn, all that?
Tell them.
Yes. It is. We'll have it. We'll have it in that.
Yeah, click on it.
We'll click on
Hit
that.
that thumbs up button.
So click that thumbs up. Click that thumbs up button. Like, bro, this guy. This was. I will say this.
Tell them. I told you.
Krishan told me he was gonna get emotional, but I wanted.
And I said, you don't want to have this conversation.
And I told him I wanted to have it. And it can go on, but listen from the bottom of my heart. Listen from the bottom of my heart. To Blair, who is an honorary bulldog now.
Yeah.
My kids are bulldogs.
Right.
They all two of
To
them.
Philip, Monique,
Sean, I like your door, bro.
Krishan,
Who's this person?
Sean, get your truck. I
Krishan,
got it. Good. I like it.
Tish,
I like
Keelan,
it. Hey, bro.
to all of them.
Can I help you, bro? Can I help you?
Not to be down in anybody's mood, but I gotta be up at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I can still hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Well, it's kind of keeping me up.
yeah, that's fine. Hey, bro, you should leave. We wrapping up.
Sure.
Anything else I can help you with?
Well, actually, I've been hearing a lot about what you've been talking about.
Yeah.
And the thing about that got me thinking is that, see, my man My father he's a righteous man.
Yeah.
He was a door-to-door preacher. He actually preached the word of God.
Sure? Nah. Hey, hold on, Drake.
You stop.
Hold on.
No, nothing like that.
We're not going there. What's up, bro?
Nah, it's like that.
He come in peace. He come in peace.
Yeah, no.
We good. We good. Sure.
My father was a man of God, and he actually was a door-to-door preacher. But
It's like 12 years, shut bro. Chill out. Chill. Let him talk.
it's like my man was a man of faith, and the woman he was with, he went to the church, and they told them that they should be together. So my father, he's actually not my dad. We'll get to that later. The church told him, you need to stay with her. So he did. And while he was with her, I was conceived, but I'm not his child. And so he didn't know what to do. I'm not his child. The church told him to stay with her, and he did, but she still cheated on him. But he was a man of faith, and he's never going to give up in his faith. So she abandoned me, as did the man who conceived me, but he never did. He took me in as his son. And that's all he's raised me as, his son. He doesn't see me as anything other than his son. I mean, the church can provide a path, but so many can stray from that path, but only those who are devout will actually truly follow the path.
So, I understand what you're saying, man. Like, I'm glad this topic was able to spark something and touch you and to bring somebody in. Like, seriously, that's what this platform is for. Like, my name is Zach. This is Krishan. Like, this is our podcast. We here a couple times out of the month. I don't know your name. What's your name, bro?
John.
It's nice to meet you.
That's the same.
Hey, listen, man, we apologize. We didn't mean to keep you up. We actually went over because this topic, hold on, hear me out, because this topic was a little passionate. But next time, I'm going to invite you down for our episode, man. I'd love for you to come and just sit in. Like, people need to see that this what this is for. You know what I'm saying? So, like, bro, before you leave, man, just say what's up to the camera. Any life hack, any life jewel that you got, man, just go ahead and send it to him, man. I appreciate your energy. Like, man, you in a room full of love. That's just my security, bro. So he was just making sure.
I was looking here.
You know what I'm saying? He was just making sure everything was straight, bro. We not on that, man. This is a situation of love. We were just passionate about the topic we were talking about. So you know what I'm saying? I appreciate you coming in. I'm glad that you were able to hear that and come to speak on that, man. So listen, I'm gonna let you close it out. I normally do the closing, but I'm gonna let you close out my podcast. Like, you here now. You already here now, man. You just gave a beautiful testimony. So man, if you just want to tell the country you love them, if you just want to tell everybody, like, don't be full of hate, be full of love, man, the floor is yours right now, man. God sent you here for a reason, bro. So I don't want to interfere in that, man. So like, I'm gonna give you the next 30,
Is he okay being on camera?
You know what I'm saying? You okay being on camera? No, you good, man. You good, man. But listen, man, the next 30, 45 seconds is yours, man. The floor is yours, bro. We're going to close it out with you, my G.
Word is, my father, he's the man that raised me. He's not the man that gave birth to me, but, he loved me all the same, loved me the same as his children. And till this day, he may not say it because he lost his faith in the church, but he never lost faith in his religion. And to this day, he still believes in the Word of God. And that's all we need to believe in, the Word of God.
I'm with that, bro, for real. I'm with that. So, listen, I couldn't wrap it up no better. Like, you seen me and my brother go at it, but look, we do this out of love, and look, we do this behind the camera, so this just wasn't for the camera. Like, my dog really be holding me accountable, and that's why I love this dude, because he offers some different perspective, and that's why I love all y'all for coming up on here. I'm not saying my perspective is right, I'm not saying I'm wrong. But like I said, we have to have this conversation. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I hope y'all love this episode. Look, bro, when we comment, speak your piece, man. Dog, come to the next episode, man. This is what this is for, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, this is Black Zach, Exactly My Point podcast, man. We're gonna wrap it up, man. I appreciate you. It is what it is, man. Listen, stay solid, love your people, never fold. That's what it is, bro.